Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Safari Live. My name is Byron, and on camera with me this afternoon is Senzo. Now, you've joined us at the perfect time. We have got a school drive this afternoon. Welcome to the Arthur Ashe Elementary. Lovely to have all of you with us. Don't forget, give your questions to your teacher and she'll send them to us and we'll gladly answer them. Now, you've joined us at a very exciting time. We've just got out of camp. We've been driving around. We found this pride of lions just in time because they actually started moving around. Now, it's a cool afternoon. It's about 26 degrees Celsius or about 70, I think it's 74 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is cool. It's not too hot. Now, these lions have actually spotted some animals in the distance. I'm not sure if they are hunting yet, but these lionesses look like they are potentially hungry and looking to try and hunt something. This is very exciting. For the rest of our viewers, don't forget, we are live, so send us your questions. Hashtag Safari Live is how you do it via Twitter, and we will gladly answer them. Now, it's just myself out at the moment. Unfortunately, one of our cameramen, Craig, is just in town, but he will be back hopefully within the next half an hour, 45 minutes, and we'll get Taylor out on drive too. But for now, this is exciting, so it's perfect. You're going to stay with me. We're watching these lions. Now, I wonder where the rest of the pride is. They were all moving through this thick area behind us, but it's very, very dense, very thick, and their camouflage is perfect for this time of the year. Now, we are in our winter months, and you can see how these lions blend in so well to their surroundings. Now, if they are stalking prey, something to try and hunt, they will try use the cover, try use their camouflage to get very, very close, and then maybe hunt. Now, let's see, which way are they going? Oh, you see, this lioness definitely looks like she's interested in hunting. You see how she's slinking away? Now, she's doing that to try and use cover and potentially go around. I'm not sure where the other lionesses are. We'll keep an eye on them and see what they decide to do. Mattia, so the lionesses, or how I can tell that this is a female lion, is she does not have a mane. With the lions, the big males have got beautiful big manes, thick set of hair around the neck and head. This female doesn't have any. The females don't have the thick set of hair. I'll just keep a good eye on her and see where she is, where she's going. But look how well she's camouflaged. She's probably going to cross the road behind us. So let's see. Might get a nice view of her shortly. There we go. She's probably going to cross shortly. There she goes. Yep. See, that was exciting. Okay, now I'm going to try keep an eye on her. I don't know where these other lions are. We'll try have a look. Erica, you asked, how do these lions or animals survive in the habitat? Well, Erica, this is a natural habitat. So these animals are all have the ability to find food, find water. They're very intelligent. I'm just trying to have a look now. Sorry, everyone. This is going to be tricky because this lioness is so well camouflaged, and I don't want to lose her because I'd like to see if she does try to hunt. So, Erica, all these animals, they survive in this terrain, in the landscape, in the habitat, in the ecosystem, because this is what they are made for. They know how to find food, they know how to find water, and they are completely self-sufficient. It means they can look after themselves. Now, I can't see where she has disappeared to. And I don't know where the others are. I wonder if they aren't perhaps further ahead. Because in this pride of lions, this group, this family group or pride, there are I think they possibly saw the lions already. There were giraffe ahead. Look, there they go. There they go. See the giraffe? Try to fix that color a bit, Senzo, if we can. See the giraffe. So I wonder if these lions, they must have seen the giraffe. Now, unless it's a very experienced pride, it's very difficult to hunt something as big as a giraffe. Oh, here comes another lioness. Here come two more lionesses behind me. There we go. See there the others. They've obviously seen the giraffe too. Their eyesight is very good. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? See how they're stalking. Now the thing is, what's very clever is that one lioness circled around. So there's a possibility she might try chase, whether it was the giraffe or if the impala, I'm not sure if they saw any other animals, may try and chase them towards these two lionesses that might lie in ambush. Sometimes the lions do that. Now, lions are not always successful when they hunt. It does take them a few chances before they eventually catch prey. But we need to remember, everyone, this is nature. Here they go. Here they go. They're starting to run. Let's just see where they're going. There they go. Watch. Look at that lioness run. This is very exciting. They've clearly seen something. I'm not sure if that other lioness tried to chase the giraffe or if these lions just saw the giraffe running. Let's have a look. Try to get through these bushes here. Destiny, you asked if cheetahs also live in this area. Destiny, they do. We do have cheetah in Africa, and especially this part of Africa where we are. We are right up in the northeastern part of South Africa, so right at the bottom of Africa, and we are in an area known as the Greater Kruger National Park. So there is an abundance of wildlife, lots of different animals, all the predators, lions, cheetah, and leopards. We saw wild dogs yesterday. I can see the other lioness now. So all three of them are here. So let's have a look. Here we go. This is very exciting, everyone. We do not get to see this every day. Lions on the hunt. There's another lioness walking next to me. Watch out, look out. Wow, very, very close to us. See, I'll just keep my voice down a little bit. I don't want to disturb them. But look how they are looking around for food. Now, Benjamin, you asked if there's snakes here. There are snakes that we do get around too. But now in winter, we don't really see many snakes. They hibernate. They don't like the cold. So in summer, that's generally when we see snakes. Well, I can't believe how lucky we are to see these lions moving around and possibly trying to stalk and find prey. They do look quite hungry. If you look at this female next to me, you can see her stomach is quite thin. Not overly thin. She doesn't look like she is in bad condition, put it that way. But you can see they are hungry and they do want to try and get some food. Now, where they are going, these lions, straight ahead, not far from here, there's actually a little clearing, a clear open area, and there are also there is also a water hole or a little dam with water. So a lot of animals go there to drink. So these lions are clever by heading in that direction. They've already seen some giraffe. Now the chances are there's possibly some other animals hanging around the waterhole. So these lions are interested in hunting, and it just shows you. Sometimes people think that lions only hunt at night, but if they hear animals or see animals, they will possibly try hunt during the day too. You can see they're settling down now, and I think the reason for that is because the prey or the giraffe that they saw have moved off. They obviously either smelt or saw the lions. And giraffe have got incredible eyesight. This is amazing, very exciting. Wonderful, wonderful start to the afternoon. But you can see how muscular and strong those lions are. The definition in their body. Very powerful cats. Now these lions are part of a pride, as I mentioned. And there's some young ones that are right next to us. These are the cubs of these lions. They are quite big already. So they're not too young, but you see how clever they are. They know to hang back when the mothers are looking to try get food. So they don't disturb them. So that's why they're a little bit further behind them. But the rest are coming soon. They're all coming out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Should be 6. Wow, we are completely surrounded by lions now. Yep, all 6 of the young ones are now here. And we've got the 4 females lying around just in front of us. Miss Dugan, you asked how many lions are usually in a group or in a pride. It's known as a pride of lions. Now, it all depends. It varies. You can sometimes have a small group of 2 or 3 lions together. And in some parts of Africa, you can get prides up to 20 or 25 lions, some really big prides. Now, this pride that we have, it's 4 females and 6 youngsters. Now, there's not a big dominant male with them at the moment. There was this morning, I think. But what happens is, in this area, there's not just one male. There's actually a coalition or a group of 4 brothers, 4 big dominant males that patrol this whole territory, this whole area. And they are the ones that meet up with this pride from time to time. So they don't stay with them all the time, but they are occasionally around, and they do meet up with them, especially when these lions make a kill. The reason for that is because the males know that if the females make a kill, it's very easy for them to come and steal or take some of the food before the lions feed. Look at that beautiful mouth and face. Now we've got a lovely view of all 4 females ahead of us. Look, they're actually greeting one another. That one lioness was just rubbing up against the other one there. All 4 of them lying out in the open. Miss Sims, you asked how long does it take these lions to actually hunt their prey or hunt for their food? Now, it can vary. Oh, wow, everyone. Hang on a second. Behind us, there are 2 very, very big male lions. Now, I can't move because I'm surrounded by lions, but I'm hoping these males do head this way and walk past us. So we'll sit here and wait and just see. So, Miss Sims, it can take anywhere from 30 seconds to 3 hours for lions to hunt. It all depends. As I said, they're not always lucky or opportunistic when they not opportunistic, they're not always lucky or successful when they are hunting. It can take some time, it can take a lot of effort, and if the lions try 5 or 6 times to hunt, they might only catch something once out of those opportunities. Ms. Dugan, you asked how fast do they run when they are chasing prey. Now, lions can charge very, very quickly. They can't keep their speed up for long distances, but they can run probably about 30 or 40 meters very, very quickly, or 50 meters. So they can run at a speed of about 20 to 22 meters per second. So to give you an idea, if you think of Usain Bolt, the fastest sprinter in the world, he runs 100 meters in about 9 seconds. These lions will do it in about 5 seconds. That will give you an idea of how fast they actually are. Less, actually, about 4 or 5 seconds. Very, very fast. Now, I'm just waiting for these other young lions to move, and I'll reposition for us so we can have a look at these beautiful big males who are behind us. Oh, there we go. That one's moving there. That's all right. Give me a second. I'm going to try move quickly. Now, if these lions did try to hunt a big giraffe, just have a look. There we go. There we go. Now we can have a beautiful view of one of the big males. They're both back there. The one's lying down at the moment, but the other one's out in the open. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? So as I was saying, with these big males being close to the females, they will help the females hunt something as large as a giraffe. So if the females did grab one, I'm sure these males would try and help them. Oh, excuse me a second, I just want to jump on the radio. Good afternoon, Henry at Byron here. We've just located on the Nkuhuma Pride and 2 coalition members. They just got up and they're moving towards Vuyatela Dam. They're just off that Vulture's Nest Road, just to the kind of north of that, if you are interested in joining, just myself here. Okay, copy. See those big males? Look at them go. They are magnificent. Now, some of you were wondering how we tell the difference between males and females. You can see now clearly the big males with that beautiful mane, that very thick mane around the head and neck. A lot of hair. Now, the reason for that is to protect themselves. If these males get into a fight with one another, which they often do, and when they need to protect their territory or their home, they will fight with other males, and that thick set of hair around the neck and the head protects them from any serious injuries from them biting one another. So as I said, these males, these 2, and I'm surprised they're with the Pride at the moment, but these 2 males are part of a coalition or a group of 4 brothers. But what happens is these males move around, sometimes alone, sometimes 2 or 3 of them together, and occasionally all 4 together. Now, the reason for that is they protect their home or their territory against other lions. They don't want other males coming into this area and challenging them. So these males, by sticking together, they can keep out other males. Now, when they do fight, they can get very aggressive, and it's often either hitting each other with their paws and their sharp claws, or biting one another with those sharp teeth that you could see from that lion yawning over there. Miss Boyce, you asked, where do the lions sleep in the wild? Well, anywhere really. When they are moving around, if they do decide to rest, which they usually rest during the day, because that's usually when it is warm, the temperatures are hot. The lions don't like to move around if it's too hot. So what they do is they will go and rest in the shade and sleep and conserve their energy until the evenings when they start moving around a lot. Now, at the moment, we're very fortunate, and I think it's because it's a cooler afternoon. You can see that male lifted his head up. He can see the lionesses moving off. That's why he's following them. Look at that. Oh, wow, this is such a lovely view. Watch him walking towards us. And as I was saying, the thing with these lions and the males following the pride is they know that there's potentially going to be some food. But Miss Boyce, as I was saying, they can also sleep just about anywhere they want. At night they'll move around. Look how close he is. Very, very close to us. Amazing, amazing to get this close to a big male lion. He is huge. He's very, very big. So at night they'll move around a lot. They may choose to rest at times, but generally they're very active at night. I want to keep an eye on those females actually. I'll tell you why. It's because with the females, they're the ones who do the hunting. So if I keep an eye on them, the rest of the pride will eventually follow. Alright, let's follow those two females because they're the ones who look quite hungry and they look like they want to hunt. Right, so one of my friends is also out on safari at the moment, but he is all the way in East Africa, so very, very far from where we are, and that is James, and he wants to say good afternoon to you.
Hello everybody and welcome to Kenya, 2,500 miles from where you've been watching that spectacularly beautiful lioness and her little cubbies. It's very nice to have you with us, and remember, you can ask us any questions you like. My name is James Hendry and I am sitting up in the migration control room in the Maasai Mara. Now we're going to take you down to the river where we've got lots of beautiful hippopotamus. Look, there they are. They're sitting under the water, even though it's a chilly day here, you know. It's probably only about, I'd say not much more than 60 degrees Fahrenheit outside. And those hippos still like to be in the water because, you know what, they're really, really very fat indeed. And that keeps them nice and warm. Now, you can't see me, of course, but you can't see me because I'm sitting a long way away from this river. And I'll show you where I'm sitting a little bit later. Now, Mrs. Dugan, you may have heard me say that the temperature here is 60 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's probably what it is. It might be up to 65, but there's a chilly wind blowing, which always makes it feel that much colder. Now, what we have here, everybody, is a river crossing. Now, what does that mean if there's nothing crossing it? Well, this is the very famous Mara River in Kenya. And in the Mara River, it has, well, there are many, many stories about the Mara River, but the biggest story, of course, is that of the wildebeest migration and the crossings that those wildebeest make over this river again and again and again, hoping not to be eaten by something I've just spotted over here, I think. Is that one? No, I think that's just mud. But somewhere lurking in this river, everybody, is a great big group of crocodiles, and those crocodiles wait for the wildebeest. There's one. For the wildebeest and the zebra and the Thompson's gazelles and the taupi and the eland to try and cross the river, and then they eat them. Look at this enormous crocodile. Now he's swimming very, very slowly upstream, and it's cold for him too, and so he won't be moving very fast. But this crocodile will weigh, well, probably as much as 1,600 pounds. Can you believe it? That's an enormous amount. He's got a huge big head that's probably about the size of, I don't know, I'm going to say if you're 9 and 10 years old, it's probably about the same size as your body from the tip of your head down to your waist. So he's a huge fellow, and probably about, I don't know, maybe about 9 or 10 feet long, up to 12 feet sometimes. Isn't he huge? Look at his eyes, just only slightly open as he watches where he's going. He'll be using his sense of smell probably much more than he's using his sense of sight to see where he's going. Now, Jonah, you are wondering why hippos open their mouths so wide. Well, Jonah, that's a very good question for someone of your name, of course, because I'm sure you know the story of Jonah who was swallowed by the whale. So perhaps you're worried that one day you might be swallowed by a hippopotamus. Don't worry, you will not be swallowed by a hippopotamus. They open their mouths so very wide, Jonah, because... Let me try and find your hippo again. Because what they do is sometimes they're just yawning, like when you're tired. But often it's when they are trying to show other hippopotamus that this is their area. So they show that this is my area, and look how big my teeth are, and I want you to go away. So that's why they do that. These guys seem to be very calm indeed. Now, Destiny, you want to know how hippopotamus defend themselves, and the next time you come back to Kenya, after I've sent you back to South Africa, I'm going to show you some special skulls and things that we have over here, and then I will be able to show you the teeth that the hippopotamus have, and that's how they defend themselves. Can we go across to Dusty Crossing, please? Yeah, we have another crossing point, and I'm just wondering, we had some hippos fighting here earlier. And they've got huge big teeth, about the size of your forearm, believe it or not. And I'll show you those the next time you come across to me here. Isn't that lovely? We've got a beautiful bird sitting there. No wildebeest and zebra are crossing the rivers today because it's just a little bit cold. Now that bird is called a yellow-billed stork. Amira, you want to know what kind of birds live in Africa? Well, Amira, there's one of them. That is a yellow-billed stork. And Amira, there are more than 1,200 species of bird that live here in Africa, so I can't really tell you all of them. But you get eagles and vultures and buzzards and storks and herons and sparrows and grenadiers and finches and sunbirds and testiculars and larks and warblers and parrots and lovebirds and turacos and stints and petrels and lots of different kinds of birds. You can see about 1,400 different kinds in Africa. Remember, Africa is much, much bigger than the United States. And so you know how many birds there are just in your small part of the United States. So you can imagine how many there are here in Africa, where there are not nearly so many people per square unit of area, which you don't need to worry about. Okay, that is the yellow-billed stork. Let's go back to Byron. I'll try and fix some skulls for you to look at next time you come here.
It's so nice to have James all the way in East Africa finding wonderful and amazing animals up there. Now we're still sitting with these lions, but they've decided to lie down, and they are looking around though. They are looking for food. So hopefully they find something. Have a look. This lion. Makia, now you were asking about lions if they only eat meat or also the bones. So when they do catch something, if they do catch something, they are feeding on it. Then they will feed on just about all of it except the big bones. They do crunch through some of the smaller bones, but the really big bones, it's not that easy for them to eat, and they won't necessarily prefer all the meat. But have a look, these lions are definitely interested in trying to find something to eat. Erica, it takes about 2 years, maybe actually more, 2.5 years, before young lion cubs are able to hunt with the adults. At least 2.5 years. I have seen lions at about 2 years trying to help, but they're not experienced enough yet. So a little bit longer, then they will be able to hunt with the females. I just want to chat to some of the other guides quickly on the radio. The stations, just an update. The Nkuma Pride are slowly mobile in an easterly direction. They're approaching Twin Dams Road, junction Vulture's Nest. Just myself in this position. I think Henry's making his way as a second. You see how these lions are scanning very, very carefully through the bush, having a look to see if they find any movement, any sign of animals that they can possibly try to hunt. This is really exciting, everyone, and it's so special. We don't often get to see lions hunting. Well, not in this area at least. You need to be very, very patient, and you need to sit with them for a long time before you are able to see them hunt. Let me try reposition, get a better view of them, get a little bit closer. And also, but you see, also what I'm going to do is I don't want to get too close because I don't want to disturb these lions if they are hunting. I don't want to disturb them and cause them to miss their chance of hunting if they are looking for prey. But you see, look how intense these lions are looking into the bush. Now, Destiny, you asked what role do these female lions play in nature? Now, they play a big role in terms of the predators control the numbers of the herbivores. So all the other animals, there needs to be a balance. So by these lions hunting, they control the numbers of the other animals naturally, so that you don't get what we call overpopulation. If you had too many herbivores, they will eat all the trees, all the grass, and eventually it would cause a problem. So the predators are a vital role in nature with them hunting, and if they kill a few herbivores like impala, for example, or some of the other animals like zebra or wildebeest, the reason they are killing them is to feed themselves, obviously, but then also they maintain a balance, a natural balance, so that the animals don't get overpopulated and cause destruction in the bush. So it's very important to have predators around. Now our friend James is still in the studio now in the Maasai Mara, and he's got some wonderful skulls he would like to show you.
thinking. Right, everybody, I told you that I would show you a skull or two, and here we have one. This is an enormous crocodile skull, and can you see how very big it is? It's almost the same length as my arm, if you can believe it. And look at the size of the teeth on this fellow. Let me climb up here and show you. So, here are his teeth. That's my baby finger, so that's about the same length as his big tooth there. And you can see, very scary creature indeed, not something that you'd want to be caught by. And they, of course, like to eat wildebeest and zebra, and when they're very little, they eat fish, of course. But when they're big like this, then they eat wildebeest, like this, and zebra. I don't have a zebra with me at the moment, and topi and eland and all sorts of delicious things like that. Well, they're delicious if you're a crocodile. Then we had a question a little bit earlier about how big or how hippo defend themselves. Well, here you can see how a hippo would defend itself. Look at these enormous teeth here, and I said that they were probably about the same length as your forearm. Well, there's my arm sitting next to the tooth of this hippopotamus. Now, I am a fully grown man, not a very big fully grown man, but a fair size, and if you're 9 or 10, you'll find that that's about the same length as your forearm. So you can imagine, look how big it is, it's enormous. You can imagine that very few things are going to be brave enough to take on a hippopotamus. You see how very big it is? I think it's really amazing. Oh, it's very heavy as well. So that's the bottom jaw of a hippopotamus. And Taylor, you might think to yourself, well, Jalen, you might think, what does a hippo eat with big teeth like that? Well, while you look at that, I'll show you that it's got quite interesting teeth. And the teeth are interesting because while it looks like, with big teeth like it has, it might eat meat. It doesn't eat meat, you know. These teeth, these big teeth, are only for defense. If you look at the teeth here, you can see that it spends a lot of time eating grass. That's what teeth like that are for. You can see them grinding the grass away, and that's what those are for. Now let's see if we can't put this on top, and we can see if we can make our hippo yawn, like many of you know a hippo can do. It's not very easy to make the thing sit right. There we go. All right, so when his jaws are closed like that, as they are almost now. I haven't got it quite straight. There we go. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? Now, Jonah, you too, as I open the hippo's mouth, worried again, perhaps about being swallowed, like Jonah and his whale. You say, how do you tell the difference between a crocodile and an alligator? Well, if we look at the crocodile here, you will see that it has got what we call a very rounded snout, okay, at the front. An alligator's got a slightly sharper snout. It doesn't have nearly as wide a skull. Now, of course, this is difficult to answer because this is an old crocodile, which means that the skull is wider than it would have been on a young crocodile. So I suppose you might confuse a young crocodile skull for a big alligator skull. But in general, a crocodile is bigger. They are heavier, and they're actually more dangerous to human beings. Alligators, yes, of course, they can damage people, but crocodiles eat a lot of human beings in Africa every single year, and are far more than alligators eat people, I think. So those are the main differences, but they're pretty closely related. They're not very far distantly related from each other at all. And they're very heavy, you know. I mean, the weight of that crocodile skull is probably, well, I would say it's probably pushing about 30 pounds or so, and so you can imagine trying to carry that on your back, an enormous thing indeed. Now, Miss Dugan, you want to know, are animals used to people being around them in the wild? Well, Miss Dugan, yes, they are. You've seen that Byron is next to one of the world's most terrifying predators. That, of course, is a lioness, and the lioness doesn't care about Byron at all, and that's not because of Byron. It's because the lioness doesn't see us as a threat, and it also doesn't see us as something to eat. So it just sees us as a sort of passing piece of the world that it doesn't have to worry about. And that's because we spent time with them, often from when they were very little. So I'm not sure if you saw the little cubs earlier. I think you did. But those cubs will grow up with cars around them. And so when they're adults, they won't be afraid of cars, and therefore their youngsters won't be afraid. All righty, that's it from here. We'll put these back on the wall. While we do that, let's head back to Byron.
Three of these lionesses have moved off. They're moving through some thicker bush at the moment. Now the reason why the lions do that is, of course, because they prefer moving through the thicker bush so they can hide and ambush their prey. So they want to sneak up and launch themselves out of the bush, use the element of surprise to be able to hunt. So that's why they've decided to move through this thicker area off to our right. I can't actually see them now. They've moved off through here. You can see very, very thick area, and they're moving down, possibly looking for some animals. But the rest of the pride is still the back. I'm still back here with the two big males. There comes a little young one now through there, and there's still a lioness lying in the shade, but there comes a youngster. And they'll just follow the pride. They'll follow the females. Just make sure they can see them, and if they do hunt, the whole pride will run in very quickly to try and get some of that meat. Dominique, you asked how long lions live. Well, on average, lionesses can live to about 14 or 15 years old. That's an average age for a lioness. For the males, it's about 10 to 12 years. But it does depend. Sometimes if prides do very, very well, they don't have a lot of competition, there's a lot of food and water around, then they can maybe live a bit longer, Dominique. But generally, 14 or 15 years old for females and about 10 to 12 years old for males. That's a beautiful view of that lioness. Just scanning to see if any of the others are coming through there. There we go, there's one of the youngsters. There's another one moving behind. Alright, well, this has been a very, very exciting start to our afternoon, and especially for our school drive. I hope you have all enjoyed this, and that it's so great you got a chance to see lions possibly hunting and the way they move, how the females try and go up ahead, try and catch prey, the youngsters and the males following to hopefully get some of that food a little bit later. Now, we are going to say goodbye to our school. Thank you very much, Arthur Ashe Elementary. So lovely to have you. Thank you for your questions, and we'll hopefully see you again on Safari Live soon. We're going to carry on with the show, though, and we'll see the rest of you shortly. Welcome back, everyone. Well, that's the end of the school drive, and don't forget, the rest of you can still send questions and comments via Twitter. Hashtag Safari Live is how you do it, and we'll gladly answer them for you. Now, what a great start to the afternoon. Very, very exciting. I must admit, I thought these lionesses were going to try go for those giraffe that we had earlier, but the giraffe seemed to have spotted them and ran off quite quickly. They did not hang around. I heard one or two impala alarm calling behind us in the drainage line. The rest of the lionesses have moved down towards the drainage line, possibly trying to rely more on the thicket to stalk prey. But we can't see them now, and we won't be able to get down there either. It's quite thick, but we'll have a look and see. I think as if we hear anything from these lions, potential hunt, the rest of the pride will run in and we should be able to find them. Now the question is, are they going to cross through the drainage line and go out onto the other side, or are they going to walk through the drainage line for a little while? I'm not sure. think what I may do is I may decide to drive around and wait on the other side and just see if they do come out there. Can hear a bearded woodpecker busy knocking away in the distance. It's got that very distinct knocking sound. It's territorial knock. So not necessarily looking for food, just a territorial knock. Tristan E, you asked if lions would also hunt during the rain. Yes, indeed. And you're a new viewer, Tristan E, so welcome to Safari Live. They will indeed hunt during the rain. Often lions prefer hunting in the rain, and I'll tell you why. It's because the rain masks their scent and also the sound that they make. So there's a lot of noise that they can use to basically hide themselves even better. So they'll rely on the noise and the fact that there's little to no scent being blown around. So animals would find it harder to pick up on the predators, and the lions will use that to their advantage, and they will hunt in those conditions. So they definitely do enjoy hunting during the rain. Not just lions, leopards too. I've seen leopards a few times, and generally after storms, windy conditions, we find lions and leopards do have, or would probably have made a kill in those types of conditions. And Arena, you were saying these lions are so majestic. They are indeed. There goes the other lioness now. Like I said, I just want to make sure we know where these lions are going. We don't want to lose them. And moving down this drainage line will be very tricky for us to see them. Now I wonder if they haven't crossed out already on the other side. I think what I may do is I may drive around so long. There are other vehicles around here. And they are going to sit with the lions on this side. So what does help is if we work together to try and find out exactly where these lions are going. If they've still got a view of them this side, I'll drive around quickly and head to the other side in case they come out. Then we shouldn't miss them. But if they stay this side, the other vehicles will let us know. So let's have a look. I'm just going to drive around quickly. We can go over the dam wall. Alright, well, let me head around quickly. While I do that, let's head back. James, I was going to think of something clever. I can't think of something clever now. I'm too busy worrying about these lions. Let's just go to James and see what he's doing in the Mara.
Of course, we're the normal Safari Live team. Hello to you all again. Now, we're at the rivers. We're waiting for Scott Dyson to, well, basically wrap up his rain covers. It looks like it's stopped raining down there, but you can see very ominous skies indeed. We have the hippos there at the cul-de-sac crossing, and not much action going on at these crossings today. And I think that's probably largely as a function of the fact that, of course, it is just quite chilly. It looked like there was one crossing earlier on today, but it's a bit cold, as evidenced by the fact that the crocodilians are out of the water. There they are, all of them getting fat putting on weight and laying down reserves for the times when the migration won't be here. But the migration is here with a vengeance at the moment. It is right up close here with us in the northern Maran Triangle, and I spent a wonderful evening last night with lions hunting the Angama Pride. And the most fascinating stories just are emerging as we spend more and more time with these animals. You know, extended periods. Scott has spent, and I'm sure he'll tell you about this a bit later, but he's spent probably close on 36 hours of the last 48 with cheetah, and they get up to all sorts of things. Lions tend to get up to very little, but when you actually do see them on the hunt, I became slightly convinced yesterday that they're not quite as dim-witted as they might seem at various stages, and I'll tell you about that at some stage when I can actually draw it for you or show you my animated face. Well, there you can see cul-de-sac crossing, not much going on. Let's go across to Dusty and see if we can at least find a bird. Can we go to Dusty Crossing? No? Has that little avenue of pleasure been closed off to me? Has it? Oh, there it is, thank goodness. Thank you, Kirsten. There we go. And I'm afraid not even a bird in sight, although there are some people in sight. They must be thinking they're probably either looking at these hippo, or perhaps they're looking at something else, something that perhaps Scott is looking at.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome into the Maasai Mara Valley floor. There is a lioness very, very close to a multitude of wildebeest and zebra, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here, and also to see if there's more lion around. We've literally just arrived, and there's a bunch of other vehicles that were lucky enough to find this lion before us, so they're also enjoying the sighting. How does her belly look? Hard to be certain. I'd be surprised if she wasn't well fed, but that doesn't matter because she is simply so close to all these irresistible meals. She may well try her luck a little bit later. It's drizzling, so we've been battling the elements. And as I say that, you'll possibly start to hear the drizzle pitter-pattering down onto our canvas canopy roof. So I fear we may need to actually batten down the hatches shortly, because the rain has just started increasing, sadly. Hello to Christine. You would like to know, how often will lions hunt? It usually, in a normal scenario, depending on when they had their last decent meal, they can survive easily for 2 or 3 days and not be hugely compelled to hunt unless opportunities pass by. However, during the migration, because there are so many opportunities, lions will kill very often, and they may not even take a bite out of the animal they have killed. They just do it out of instinct. They know to take the opportunities when they come around, and the migration provides them with a surplus of opportunities. I've seen a lioness before, full-bellied. She looked like a balloon. She could barely move, yet some wildebeest moved towards her. She caught one, she walked off, and never went back to it. She left that for the vultures. So during the migration, you can get a lot of serious action. She's looking a little bit confused, this lady, as if she's looking possibly for some other pride members. Now, just to give you an idea, she's probably around 200 meters away from the closest wildebeest and zebra, so not very, very close, and these shots can sometimes be a little bit misleading as to how far away she actually is. She definitely appears to be looking back, possibly hoping that more pride members come and give her a hand. Or maybe she's got some cubs nearby that she's going to go and feed. Who knows? Good prospects, though. She is interestingly heading straight away. Oh, you can see she definitely appears to be lactating, judging by the way her lower back belly is swinging from side to side. She's also looking surprisingly hungry. So why are you heading away from all of these relatively easy meals? Well, we're going to definitely keep up with her. and work out why she has surprised us by heading away from these wildebeest. And as soon as we get to the bottom of what exactly is going on, we'll be sure to call you back. I am just a little bit worried about the rain now, so we're probably going to have to put our flaps down, and we're going to send you back to Djuma with Byron, who's on the search for lions.
I am indeed, Scott. It's amazing that you've got lions all the way in East Africa. There you can see the male. We've also got lions down here in South Africa. And amazing to have this pride moving around. Now, I did see the females. They did cross through the drainage line a little. They still dotted around in this thicket just below us, in front of us. But we can see that big male out in the open there now. Now, there were some impala not far from here. Now, I can just see a lioness moving through the grass. Nice thick area here. The impala not too far. They were just out behind us in the clearing. Now it's a little bit open there. I'm not sure if these lions will have any luck trying to hunt because it is quite open there. There you can just see there's another lion straight through the bush, and they are so well camouflaged. This is always so exciting. And it just shows you, though, lions will hunt during the day if they are hungry. They are very opportunistic. If they do want to find some food, they will go off and look. Now, if these lions aren't lucky, I think they would most likely go and lie down and rest eventually. Rest for a little while, and then eventually start moving later again and try their luck under the cover of darkness. Oh, where are they? There was a lioness moving through here, but I can't see her. It's amazing how well they can disappear, or how easily they can disappear. There we go. There we go. There's a lioness right here. Henry, if you copy, I've got visual again of these lionesses coming out this side. Now, I wonder where those impala moved off to. It looked as if the impala, it's amazing. It's almost like the impala have got a sixth sense to when there are predators around, because there was one impala ewe that was staring in this direction. I don't think she had seen any of these lions yet, but staring and looking, and then decided to move off quite quickly. So amazing how I think these animals do have a sixth sense when there is potential danger around. There I can hear some alarm calls now. Now their eyesight is so good. Listen, you might actually hear the alarm calls. Let's listen for a second. And just the snorting of impala. Right past us. That is quite special. Just deciding to walk right past the vehicle. These hungry lions look a little bit like the Djuma staff, or the Safari Live staff this morning while I was preparing breakfast. Sitting around like a pride of hungry lions waiting for their breakfast. Fortunately, it went off pretty well, I think. I didn't have any complaints. I'll just sit very still as she walks past. Jennifer, you know what? I don't think hearing human voices would necessarily disturb the lions too much if we were in the distance. However, we are always as sensitive as possible, and if we see that the lions have locked onto a prey species of any kind, we will keep quiet. We will keep our distance so that we don't disturb them. Not just them. We also need to be conscious of the prey that they are potentially trying to hunt. We don't want to interfere, and we do not want to benefit either prey or predator. So we are very, very careful. We're very cautious. So if we can see that the lions have locked onto something, we'll hold our distance and try to keep our voices down so we don't disturb them, and then we'll just view and watch nature unfold. If anything does happen, great. If the lions are successful, if they're not successful, great for the prey species. So just having a look around here. They are behind us, just through the thicket. I don't know where the others are. It's a lovely, lovely afternoon, warm afternoon now. The sun shining, and it's amazing that these lions have decided to move in the warm afternoon. Oh wow, so it's nice and warm where we are, but apparently it's overcast and chilly up in the Maasai Mara. I hope James is warm in his little control room.
Lucky old Byron, lucky, nice and warm here, chilly of course. There's this grey hooded kingfisher. That is a turn up for the books. Isn't he lovely? He's not really in focus, but he is very lovely. Let me try and focus him quickly. Hang on, wait. Wait a second, that's going the wrong way. I'm trying to do this manually. You see, what this thing does is it thinks that it's looking at the grass. It is, of course, mistaken. It is looking at the kingfisher. There we go. That's much better. Kirsten, we'll have no more comments from you about blurry safaris. Isn't he lovely? And he's got no idea he's being so closely observed. Ooh, that's nice and focused. Beautiful. Look at the wind just ruffling his little grey hood. And I tell you, what I like about these chaps is not so much the halcyon blue, which is very pretty, but it's that russet kind of reddish brown. You can see russet is reddish brown really underneath the blue there, and I think that makes them very attractive birds. And some lovely purple flowers beyond. Watch, I'm going to do a focus pull. Kirsten, are you watching? Oh, ooh, there we go. Take that back. There we go. Oh, he's gone. Let's see if we can find him again. Put it back on autofocus. See if we can find what he's tried to catch. Maybe a frog, maybe an insect. Unlikely to be a fish, although they will eat fish, of course, if they can. There he is. No, that wasn't him. It was another bird. Anyway, that was the grey-hooded kingfisher. That's very nice indeed. Then we'll go across to our very favourite, certainly Steph's very favourite, because Steph has spoken extensively of this bird, the yellow-billed stork. They're ever faithful, the yellow-billed stork, always fishing over here and helping us out when we don't have a huge amount else to show you right now. Scott, of course, would have a huge amount to show you, but oh, dislodged a fish. Come on, strike. But it started to rain down where Scott is, so that's why he's not with you at the moment. He is in amongst, of course, what might turn into a hunt fairly soon. So maybe if it stops, we'll be lucky. Come on, catch a feature for us. In amongst the martins that are flying around and swallows and, of course, the hippo in the background. I'm very glad I don't have to spend all day long in the water when it's cold like this. Sheena, you say, how do they catch fish? Is that what your question was? How do they hunt them? Well, this yellow-billed stork here is hunting fish basically by feel. So it will look as well, but the birds that often storks, and some of the herons too, will fish by basically feeling any disturbance that comes along through the water. So they've got specialized, I hesitate to use the term organ, but I guess they've got specialized nerve endings in their beaks, and they can feel the slightest movement. And then their reaction speed is enormously fast, and they snap that beak shut as soon as anything goes anywhere near it. Some birds, like the hammerkop, have got special sensors in their feet, and they use that to sort of sense if there's any movement in the mud through which they're walking. They, of course, eat frogs much more than they do fish. Well, the stork is waiting very patiently for some fish, obviously thinking there's something to be had in that position. And I mean, it's a little bit like watching lions on the hunt. You just don't know what you're going to get, except that I suspect that a stork is a lot more successful every time it, well, snaps its beak shut than a lion is when it's on the hunt. Isn't that nice? Let's see what else we can find. There we go. Now, I'm just a bit sad that there aren't any crossings going on at the moment, but that is, of course, because the temperature is pretty chilly. So we'll zoom all the way around and then go around the other side. Jen, this is the second time I've been asked this, and the second time that I've had to answer in the negative. You say, is the river flowing more quickly today? A few days ago we had the same question, and Jen, it isn't. It's definitely flowing, I would say, more slowly than it has in the last week or so. Ooh, there's a very big crocodile. And I think the reason for that is that there hasn't been much rain in this area, but I think you'll find tomorrow it might be flowing a little bit more strongly. Struggling there with the current is this crocodilian. I wonder where he's going. Often crocodile movement like this up and down the river is a precursor to some sort of crossing somewhere. And unfortunately, 2 of our cameras at the crossings are down at the moment, and so it's quite difficult for us to show them all. We've only got the 2. Now, quite astonishingly, Byron Serrao has managed to find an enormous piece of green cheese.
It's the moon. It is the moon. When the moon hits the sky like a big pit. Oh dear. All right. Anyway, yeah, beautiful view of the moon there. And I'm guessing in a few days, I'm trying to think now, probably in a week's time we'll have full moon. So we can walk around at night, exactly. Senzo. Now these lions have decided to lie down and rest, just as I thought. These 2 lionesses under the tree, they've now decided that they didn't have any luck. They didn't find anything moving through the thicket. So they're resting. The rest of the pride are still spread out, I think, through the drainage line behind us, or off to my right. There were the other lions following them, but these were the lionesses in front. And I think they've just decided to take a minute to rest, or take a few minutes to rest, and wait, possibly now, wait until the cover of darkness, and then try to hunt. But again, you never know. You never know. These lions are opportunistic. Maybe they're just waiting to see if there are some more impala that come through this area. There was a small group earlier that moved through, but they were just on the edge of a clearing. So it's a bit difficult for the lions to hunt them there, because they don't have that cover and the ability to ambush the impala. It's very open just on the edge of where we are now. And that's where the impala moved through. But luckily we've still got a nice view of them, and we can sit patiently. John, my understanding of the whiskers is that they're used for a number of things. For one, just like domestic cats, and that the lion's whiskers basically extend just towards the edge of the body. So if they're walking through thick areas, or they know if the whiskers touch, the body won't fit, for example. But they're very sensitive. The main reason is when they are hunting, especially if they catch something, they will usually grab it by the throat, and you've seen that before. That's the way the lions hunt. They'll go for the jugular. They'll try and choke and suffocate their prey, and often what they can do is they'll pick up on the heartbeat or the pulse of their prey through those whiskers. So with the mouth resting on the whiskers, rest on the animal, they can pick up the vibrations of the heartbeat. Very sensitive whiskers, and then they know if it's alive or not. And I'm trying to think if there are any other uses for the whiskers. I think that's the main one I know. I don't know if there are any others. Maybe you can let me know if there are some others that you find. Any theories on the whiskers and what else they are used for. It's very peaceful sitting here with these lions. Surprising, you wouldn't think that you could use that term in the same sentence, peaceful and lions, but sitting with these lions now, it is very peaceful here. They've decided to rest. I don't know. I've got a feeling that we should actually decide. I think we should move on and return a little bit later. Although, you never know. And did that one lioness get up and move now? I'm trying to look. Senzo, can you see her on the other side there? Around that thicket. Oh, there she goes. That other lioness is still moving. Alright, so there goes that theory. They are still on the move. We're going to stick with them. We'll also see if there are other people that want to come and view them. We'll make space for them. We obviously want all the guests in the area to see lions, and especially exciting sightings like this. We do need to be fair, but for the moment it's just us and one or two other vehicles, so there's no need for us to move for now. Beverly, you asked, would the engine noise be considered to be alarm calls for some of the animals? Beverly, I don't think so. I do know though that certain animals like hyena, and that if they pick up on a lot of vehicle movement, I think to an extent they do come in and investigate, because they associate the sound of the vehicles potentially with predators. Some of the hyenas have learnt that. It's learnt behavior. They know there might be a chance of a kill. And we saw it a little bit with the wild dogs yesterday. I also think, though, the crunching of the bones possibly alerted the hyena, and those high-pitched squeals from the wild dog. The hyena would have heard that, and I think that's why they came in. But very soon, there were 3 hyena that arrived. So it just shows you they pick up on any little sounds. The vehicles sometimes might alert animals that there's possibly something going on. I don't know if prey species associate predators with vehicles. I've tried to have a look and find out if animals keep watching the vehicles, or if they see a vehicle, if they think there's potential danger around. I haven't quite decided if that is the case yet. But look, the bottom line is we are something that is not meant to be here. Animals are going to notice us. We are going to draw attention. So, that's why we try to be sensitive, keep our distance away from predators, away from prey species, so we don't interfere, or as little as possible. But it is difficult at times, and at the end of the day, we are here to try and observe these animals and hopefully see their hunting strategy, and or whether it be the prey getting away from predators. So we want to try and observe as much as possible, but also try remain sensitive. That's the key. Now those lionesses have just moved through that door. I'm going to try and get out here quickly so we can keep an eye on them. Now, God, you were asking if the animals can tell the difference between us and the Jeep or the Land Rover that we're on, and they definitely can. So I'm just trying to see how I'm going to get out here. I think they definitely can, and I'll tell you why. Now, most of the time when you go on safari, you get told in your safety briefing, please stay seated and you don't want to move, because the animals see the silhouette of the vehicle and the outline of the vehicle. Now that's true to an extent. However, I have seen a number of times animals walk past the vehicle and they look up at individuals on a vehicle. They can definitely see us on the vehicle, but I think they associate us with the vehicle, so they don't see us as a threat or as danger. Also, because we're sitting down, it's a bit better, because if you were standing up or if you're walking around, you stand out a lot more and you look like something different. You look like a predator to them. So animals will definitely react. I can just see one lioness walking through there. Animals will definitely react to you while you are standing or on two legs. You look completely different to anything else out here. But on a vehicle, they associate the people and the smells and the sounds with the vehicle. And that's why they've become somewhat habituated with us, and they don't mind us moving around. I'll just have a look over there. There's a herd of impala. Now but you see this bit of a clearing that we're on at the moment. Now that's just what I was saying. It would be difficult for the lions to hunt an impala out here unless they manage to sneak around a drainage line and ambush them from the other side. Now we'll try to see. I think these lions are generally heading in that direction. I can't see them now. There we go. There's one lioness. It's moving through there. Sorry, Senzo. I'm sending you backwards and forwards here. There's one lioness there, and I can see there is another lioness. She's going to be coming through behind that wattle shortly. Right, I'm going to sit and spend some more time with these lions. Now, as you all know, I prepared breakfast for the team this morning. I'm sure James is very upset that he missed it, but he's still enjoying a beautiful view in the Mara. Let's go and see what it looks like.
I'm on our way. You can see the rain is now teeming out of the sky. Can you see that, everybody? Those streaks that you can see in the background there is rain teeming out of the sky. I do think we need to give this lens a bit of a wash, which we'll try a little bit later. It seems a bit misty. That might just be on account of the fact that we're pretty much sitting in a cloud. Okay, I want to go and look down and show you how the migration herds have arrived in this area. You will notice, of course, that the last time I showed you this picture, or Steph showed it to you, or whoever showed it to you, there were no wildebeest on these hills at all. Well, there are some there. Now, that is not, as I have said many times, and so to the extent that it's become a bit of a cliche, 3 wildebeest do not a migration make, in the same way that 1 swallow does not a summer make. But as I pan from side to side, you will be able to see that the front runners of the wildebeest are definitely in this area, and I'll show you where I saw herds of, well, I'm going to guess that sitting at around 20 or 30,000 yesterday. And they were up in the marshlands over down yonder there. beyond that line of green trees. That's a beautiful picture. I wonder why it looks like that. We'll try and fix that a little bit later. I think there's a bit of mist over the camera lens. Anyway, those were covered in wildebeest. And so there are lots up here at the moment. And I wonder if I shouldn't tell you, no, I believe Scott Dyson actually has some of the lions that are hunting right now.
So this is quite interesting. They've actually finished hunting wildebeest. We've just got a report that this is the Angama Pride, so 4 lionesses and 13 cubs, and they've just made 4 kills, interestingly. My name's Scott. I'm teamed up with Ferg on camera, and it's good to have you back on our vehicle. The rain's thankfully stopped, and we can now show you what's going on here. Now, what appears to be the case is that these lionesses are calling very gently, oh, oh, trying to get their cubs to come out of their hiding places. Now, I'm guessing what has happened is that during the stampeding hooves of the wildebeest's escape, or at least for some of them, 4 of them were not so lucky, the cubs possibly bombshelled, terrified for their lives. These will all be new sounds and a spectacle that they have not experienced yet in their lives. So it must be quite intimidating. Imagine being a young, small cub in this very long grass with thundering hooves all around you and a cacophony of wildebeest speaking to one another. So we've had a visual so far of 3 lionesses. There's another one at about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the long grass there, Ferg, beyond that one. And the third one, I'm not sure where she's disappeared to. So there's a second individual, and they are all definitely looking for the cubs. And what I find fascinating is that their bellies are not full. So they've got these 4 kills dotted around somewhere around us here. I haven't seen one yet. One of the Angama guides was lucky enough to see all that action go down before we got here. How much longer before we got here, I'm not sure. But it appears that these lionesses are all more focused on looking for the cubs than having a meal. And that makes perfect sense because they know they've got 4 tasty wildebeest cached somewhere in and around this little lugger system where they possibly did their hunting. Where could the cubs be? Now, I'm surprised that the cubs have not heard these contact calls and come running to their respective mothers. But it could be possibly because there is so much ambient sound of all these wildebeest calling around us that it's confusing them. That's all that I can think of. It's interesting, I've never seen the Angama Pride this far south along the escarpment, so this is a first for me. And what's another first for me, and I know you're discussing it with James, is how the wildebeest are moving further north into the area where our camp is. I haven't been in this area for quite a while because I've been on the other side of the river spending time with cheetah, which has been most delightful. But I've been astonished to see how many wildebeest have moved into this area. It is quite something, and to be honest, it's quite hard for my little brain to process. And I guess that is the spectacle of the migration, just sheer numbers that are just hard to comprehend. What's going on here? She's seeming to have perked up a bit. The other lioness that we were looking at earlier has been working her way into this area. I'm told there's a lot of you who are concerned for the cubs, and rightfully so. They could well be trampled as the thousands of wildebeest stampeded off from their approaching mothers. But I'm guessing that they're all okay. That's just my guess and gut feel. And it's just that they got a little bit frightened when all the hunting was happening and all the thundering of hooves, and now they possibly just bunkered down somewhere waiting for Mom to get a little bit closer. Hello to Francis in Israel. You interested to know whether hyenas could possibly find their kills? And yes, most certainly. There is a large population of hyena in and around the Maasai Mara, varying depending on where exactly you are. But I'm almost certain the hyena, at some point in time, will come and using their incredible sense of smell detect that there are some meals to be had. But you can never be sure, as possibly the wind is not blowing in the right direction for any hyena nearby, or possibly they've had enough success making their own kills. Hyenas certainly can be very effective hunters, as and when they decide to be. Look at how well she blends in there. Whew. Awesome. You would not want to be a wildebeest with that approaching you. Imagine. Whew. The grass, I'm guessing, where she's walking is probably about 4 feet, 4.5 to 5 feet long. So perfect cover for creeping up on their prey. And that's possibly why each lioness, I'm guessing all 4 will be here, managed to get their own wildebeest. Where, I wonder, are the kills? And I'm also still very surprised that because they're not very intently, it's not like they're hugely concerned. I mean, they definitely are wanting to find their cubs, but they don't seem panicked by the situation. So I'm not sure why they haven't had a little snack yet, to be honest. There's absolutely no blood around their mouths, and certainly their bellies are not full. Hello to Cherry. You would like to know if the lions of the Maasai Mara will hunt giraffe, and yes, I'm almost certain from time to time they will do a bit of giraffe hunting, and actually this very pride managed to catch and kill a baby giraffe, I think about 2 weeks ago. We didn't get to see it, but we did get a report from some of the Angama guides that did see that happen. So that is a giraffe. Of course, a baby giraffe is a lot different to a big giraffe because it doesn't pose the same threat, and it's far easier to bring down for lion. A fully grown giraffe, though, is a very dangerous animal to try and hunt, because one kick to the head and that could render a lion useless or dead immediately, or possibly just a stray hoof to the body somewhere. They will use their hoofs to try and defend themselves against lion. So what you tend to find is that large prides of lion in areas with not lots of other prey and lots of giraffe will tend to specialize in giraffe hunting. There's a pride of lion in the Kruger Park that I spent time with in and around the Mozambican border, called the Mountain Pride. It was a massive pride of lion at that time when I was there, about 28 of them, and they did specialize in hunting fully grown adult giraffe, but it's not something very common, Jerry. Okay, what are these lions going to do next? This one's been stationary for quite a while now, so I'm guessing she's going to possibly want to catch up with the other lioness that headed off in the direction that she's looking in. You can see her calling now. And that's what's called a contact call, very soft. Ooh. Ooh. And from the distance she's at now, I doubt we'll be able to pick that audio up. Let's have a try though. Let's see if we can increase the volume and see if we can hear anything, and also to see if we can hear the gnu's that are all chittering and chattering behind us. Oh well, good. I'm told you can hear them, so I'm going to keep very quiet for a while. Oh, she's getting a bit louder. I just hope we get to see all the cubs come running out of this long grass. They're going to be so excited to see their mothers after being separated. Fergie, you got quite a good option. The one lioness has popped up at 3 o'clock.
Good, thanks.
So let's show you another one. One of the other lioness who's climbed up onto a termite mount to get a bit of a vantage point. I guess the good news is for all those 13 cubs, there's a lot of brothers and sisters that they can be kind of semi-stranded with at the moment. There's not too few of them. Oh, Beverly,
Your question is one that I am very happy to answer, because no, the lioness will certainly not give up looking for these cubs if they do not find them. It will become a more and more urgent matter of priorities for them, and it is highly, highly unlikely that these lionesses would abandon the cubs. Their maternal instincts will kick into overdrive, as you can see now, and the fact that they haven't had a snack on their meal is testament to the fact that they really do want to find these cubs. Oh, a little bit of running and excitement. Has she seen one of them? Like I said, there's 13 cubs, 3 of which are the youngest. They're probably around 2.5 months of age now. Then some that are maybe 3.5, 4 months of age, and then another 7 that are about 7 months of age. So 4 different litters amounting to 13 cubs of 3 different shapes and sizes. Well, they're all a fairly similar shape, I guess, but all different sizes. I'm just going to give it a moment or two here. How awesome is this when they pace through that long grass? I had a feeling she was going to drop down into this riverbed. Oh, she's popped up again. There we go. Now, it's just an open sea of grass around us, so the cubs may have kept running further than they maybe normally would have in search of some kind of a structure to seek refuge in, so that's possibly some reason why they are not hearing the gentle contact calls of their mother. Oh, and even though it's soft for us, of course their hearing is far better than ours, so a soft contact call like that will be able to be heard from a much further distance away than we would expect, or at least that our ears would be able to detect. So even if those cubs were maybe 300 or 400, 500 meters away, I'm fairly certain they would be, ooh, pouncing coming. Well, you can see they're not too worried about finding their cubs, and even, oh, here they come. The front line. They've all just come charging in, and I'm not sure how many are here, but a whole bunch of furballs. Look at that, awesome. You can already see there's different sizes. The 7-month-old ones and about the 3.5-month-old ones, it looks like. The smallest ones I cannot see, so I'm actually wondering if these are the Angama pride, having seen these cubs. I've just relied on some information from the guides, but what I've found is quite often people get their characters mixed up, and they don't have the benefit of having all of you guys making sure that we get our facts straight, and those cubs just didn't seem right. The smaller cub that we saw seemed too big, but maybe it's just that I haven't seen them in a while. Anyway, time will tell, and once we get a little bit closer to these ladies, we can, and maybe when they start snacking, we'll be able to work out what exactly, or who exactly they are. Here come some more cubs tumbling in. Oh, awesome. And who knows where they came from. It would be wonderful to know how far it's been that they've had to travel, or how far they fled from this area where the kills were made. Okay, I'm just going to creep forward a little. Oh, actually, not just yet. They seem to be coming out a little bit. No, not quite. Let's creep forward a little bit and see if we can't work out what's happening down below in the riverbed. Well, what a relief. The cubs are back, and isn't it funny that as the mothers started playing with one another, the cubs decided to coming out.
Tiggs, you've just commented that their camouflage is really something else in terms of how well it is or how well it works. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. This long golden grass makes for the perfect cover for these lions to dissolve into their surroundings. It's always a bit scary knowing where the edge of these cliffs are with the long grass, so I'm just going to stop here. Let's work out who's who. Take a closer look. These are different lions. I'm fairly convinced the one cub is very pale. The one that's in the middle. And I personally don't recognize these, but again, I could well be wrong. The mother would be a good one to take a close look at, but even then I'm not confident that I've spent quite enough time with these lions to be able to confidently say who's who. The fact that there's also only 4 of them so far means that there's 7 missing, if it is in fact the Angama pride. But now that their movements seem to be changing a little bit, they seem to be moving further afield now that their cubs are getting older, or at least some of them are. It could be that the 2 lionesses with the smaller cubs have stayed closer to their usual hangouts and not risk bringing them too far away. I'm not too sure. The older cubs seem like they could be the right size to be the 7 older cubs, but these other 2 cubs that are slightly smaller that we can see, that being one of them, and the very pale one to the left of it being the other, those 2 just don't fit in. And that pale lion, she or he certainly does stand out. And I don't remember. Oh, playtime. Off they go. Hello, John. You've noticed that their eyes are very dark, and yes, lions do have quite dark eyes. I guess as a general rule, they do vary from individual to individual. I'm not sure if the Nkuhuma lioness in the Sabi Sands called Amber Eyes is still around. She had noticeably different eyes, but also this flat afternoon light probably isn't illuminating their eyes as much as a sunny afternoon would. And I'm told that Amber Eyes is still around the Sabi Sands doing her thing there, so you'll just have to keep watching, John, and then you'll be able to see a lioness with a slightly paler amber-coloured eye.
Little ones on the left.
Sorry, Ferg?
2 on the left, there's the old guys.
Okay. Oh, as in much smaller ones, to the left of that one on the ledge.
No, I'm not.
Ah.
Put it on.
Well, it sounds like you guys are getting spoilt today. We'll have the joy of being able to send you from a pride of lions here in the Maasai Mara a few thousand kilometers to the south with Byron and some lions in the Sabi Sands.
It is amazing indeed. And Scott, yeah, I think everyone's very fortunate today. It's a wonderful Lion Day, I suppose. Now, we're still sitting with the pride, the Nkuhuma pride. However, they've split up slightly. Now, what happened was they moved down through this drainage line. There was a huge herd of impala that we saw just up on the edge of the clearing. We showed you just before you left us. But what happened was there were some monkeys alarm calling in the trees, and the monkeys actually alerted the impala. The impala then picked up that there's potential danger around, and they moved off. Now, it's almost like those impala headed back towards the rest of the pride, or the younger lions and the males, but I don't think they had come through that other drainage line yet. Now, 2 of the other females moved through this drainage line, which is a different one, and they went through the thicket round the back behind us. We can't see them. I'm not sure where they are at the moment, But it's amazing to see how active these lions are so early on in the afternoon. They clearly are quite hungry. They do want to hunt. And it'll be interesting to see this all unfold. We may miss a hunt. They might not be lucky while we are out. They could potentially only hunt later this evening. But it is very interesting to see. And hopefully something unfolds and we get to see. Now, I can hear Franklin's alarm calling and that behind us. Something startled them now. I wouldn't be surprised if those lions moved through the thicket and those Franklins were startled by them. It's a lovely view of this lioness though. She's just lying, resting at the moment. Beautiful big lioness. It's also nice and cool in this drainage line. Perfect spot for these lions to rest, but I don't know where those others are, if they're just lying up on the other side of this drainage or if they've moved right around. Retro Face, you're a new viewer. Welcome to Safari Live. Great to have you with us. And you asked if the lions are more active at night. They generally are, Retro Face. They generally are. And we were discussing this earlier. The pride of lions, fortunately we found them just before 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they were moving, trying to hunt. They had seen some giraffe, and they were on the move trying to hunt some giraffe, but they weren't very lucky. Now, what happens is generally the lions prefer moving around under the cover of darkness. It gives them better chance of hiding, better chance of stalking, and potentially a better chance to hunt. That's when lions are generally more active, but it just goes to show you they will move around during the day, especially if they are hungry and they do need to find some food. Now, they're resting at the moment, but I think they are still very curious and very aware of what is going on around them, and they are in search of something to potentially hunt. Now we're going to go from these lions which are resting at the moment to the lions that Scott has in the Maasai Mara that are very, very active at the moment. Let's go and have a look.
Hello everyone, and good to have you back. These cubs are providing us with lots of entertainment, and they seem in a very, very playful spirit. Now, I know I told you that these were the Angama pride, which I do not think they are, and I also told you that they apparently made 4 wildebeest kills. That I'm also believing was nonsense, because their behavior is certainly not of hungry lions that have just made a kill. These cubs will definitely be eating meat. They're old enough to eat meat, both the different sizes, as well as their mothers, and none of them are full-bellied. So something is not quite right here with regarding that information we got. Or maybe I'll be proved wrong, because I can just see the mother now, the one on the left here quickly. Oh, would you believe it? That is the joy of nature. You just do not know what is going to happen and when. And as I think that was physically impossible that they wouldn't start snacking on it, she decides to put her head in the pantry and pull out a wildebeest. What a pleasant surprise. And I'm fascinated that these cubs haven't sniffed it out yet. Maybe they're just waiting for mom. Look, it hasn't even been opened yet. A whole, fresh, tasty wildebeest all ready for dinner. And I'm sure as soon as this lioness decides to open it up, these cubs are going to get stuck in. Catch is that, oh, here they come. Here comes the other lioness with one cub following it, and that cub is straight in on the wildebeest, and I'm sure it's going to be wrestling, growling, semi-attacking it, as young cubs so often like to do when they come across a fresh kill like this. Look at it. It just did a somersault just about
Let me see if I can't get us into slightly... Let's just give it some time. I've got a feeling the grass is going to get very flattened in that area quite quickly, and then we'll be able to see what's going on. Look at those cubs. They're so happy. I can't believe they haven't sniffed it out yet, to be honest. They were playing around all through this area. Paula, hello, and good to have you with us. You would like to know how high or what is the mortality rate of lion cubs in the wild? It will depend on luck of the individual pride in the individual area that they may be living in. Some areas have got more threats to lion cubs than others, i.e. higher lion populations, or you go through some stages where a new coalition of males may be coming into an area, wreaking havoc, killing all the cubs in the area, releasing their mothers of the responsibility of raising them, and thus allowing the new blood to get into the system. But on average, I'd say probably 30%, 25 to 30% of lion cubs will make it all the way to adulthood. But there are, of course, very varying figures regarding this. The bottom line is all cubs, be it lion, leopard, cheetah, all face very high risk from other predators as well as even herbivores like buffalo, elephants. They will kill cubs if they come across them. Not so sure about elephants now that I've said that, but I'm sure it has happened that elephants do come across young cubs, get the scent of lion, and more often than not elephants will chase adults. And if they, of course, not quick enough to catch an adult lion, but a young cub may not be so fortunate. Oh, there goes another somersault, almost out of the frame. These cubs seem to be having a wonderful time with their dinner and evidently new toy to start with. I guess they are only tackling a stationary target, but still useful for them to practice latching on what will become their staple diet for years to come. At least certainly during the migration months, when they have these multiple opportunities to cash in on. Now, so far, I've only seen 2 lioness. I thought there was 3 earlier, but I think I just got a little bit confused with the long grass, and one may have popped up in a different area that I accounted for another. So apparently these 2 lioness have got 4 wildebeest kills here, which is quite something. They've just pulled the one out now that we can just about see. And I'm wondering if the one lioness that's heading off down this lugger now is not going off to enjoy one of the other kills on her own. She's melting into the long grass at about 11 o'clock. It'll actually possibly be quite a nice shot. I love seeing them dissolve through the grass. There she goes. Hello to Katie. You would like to know why some lions eat their own cubs. I don't think that is the case. Lions that were not fathered by certain males or from a different pride will be killed and possibly eaten by other prides or other coalitions of males. Or if a lioness does come across one of her cubs that has been killed, and the same goes for leopards, they may occasionally feed on them. But they don't kill them themselves. I'm very, very certain that that's not something that happens, because then we wouldn't have any lions on the planet if they all killed their own cubs. So I think you may have just, maybe I misread your question, got a little bit confused, but certainly a lion will not kill its own cubs. Only that from neighboring, so therefore enemy pride, or a coalition that did not father them. So I hope that clears that up. The story about leopard eating their own cubs, this poor leopard, I've forgotten her name, I've forgotten which leopard it was, but it was many years ago when I started my career in the Sabi Sands, in the southern Sabi Sands. Came around the corner and had this horrifying sight of a female leopard eating her cub that had been killed by hyenas. And I guess it's kind of possibly a leopard funeral, bit of closure on the matter, and I guess some sustenance for what can be a very tricky environment for all these animals to live in. As successful as predators can be, they do go through bad patches when their prey is just one step ahead of them, and I guess to forego that
protein and those nutrients, even if it is their own cub, would not be something wise to do. Oh, seems like these cubs are not too concerned about eating and are happy to play. They will still be nursing on milk, but the bigger cubs will certainly be, the bigger two will certainly be feeding on meat. They look about 4 or 5 months old, and the rough kind of age that they'll start feeding on meat is from about 3 months of age. The rain is pitter-pattering, but thankfully it's coming from behind us, and we've got our flaps down protecting the rear of the vehicle. But if it does continue, we may have to batten down the hatches again, which would be a great pity, because these cubs are putting on a great display of how much fun they can have practicing stalking and tackling one another, which will all become so useful in future years. Let's have a look at Mom quickly now that they've disappeared into the long grass, Ferg. Not that she's in short grass, but we can see that she's beginning to cash in on her meal. A young wildebeest that would be probably around 5-6 months old now. It would have been born in January, February down in Tanzania this year, before making the 400-odd kilometer journey up to where we are here. They've still got a little bit further north to go before they start thinking about turning back south to Tanzania. Okay, very good. We are going to wait for these lions to pop into slightly better view and send you back down to Byron to see what his lions are up to.
Well, these lions, just as I thought, have decided to rest. Oh, what did this one see or hear? There's one lioness. And the other lioness joined. You see, now we can see two of them. I'm not sure if there's still another one behind us somewhere in the thicket. So this one came out just where we thought she was. We had those Franklin alarm calling. There's still a Franklin. It's quite distressed behind us, alarm calling a little bit. That other lioness is possibly around there somewhere. But you can see now their plans of hunting have changed slightly. They're going to rest a bit and possibly try later when it gets darker. I think the idea was to have a look through the thicket or through the drainage line and just see if there wasn't perhaps something hiding in there that they could trying to hunt. Copy M4, thank you very much. As I said from the beginning, they obviously were hungry, trying to hunt, looking around, seeing if there was anything that presented an opportunity. Unfortunately not. They've decided to rest again, conserve their energy, and they'll probably wait until it gets darker and then try again. Just see the two lionesses. There might be one or two behind us. I can't actually see right now. Just trying to look around here. I just hear Franklin alarm calling, and you might be able to hear it too. So temperature's starting to drop now in this drainage line. Still next. They the lions. They don't necessarily have to sleep for 18 hours a day. They can sleep up to 18 hours a day. So still next, the thing is with lions, now we need to remember this, the lions, and some people may disagree with me, but lions are not lazy. Lions are clever, in my opinion. Now, the reason I say that is lions will rest during the day when they don't need to use up their energy. They'll conserve the energy and they wait till the evening when it's cooler. It's a bit easier for them to move around. They don't have other animals alarm calling at them as much, like monkeys or baboons. They're not drawing a lot of attention to them. So ideally, those are the best times to move around. That is why they generally rest during the day. However, we just saw this afternoon, we saw these lions moving at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's not something that happens often, but it does happen. It does happen. So the lions will still move around, all depending on whether or not they're hungry, if they want water, what the situation is. So yes, they can sleep up to 18 hours a day. It doesn't mean they have to. It doesn't mean they have to have that amount of rest. And just remember, even though it appears as if they are sleeping, they are still completely aware and alert, and they know exactly what's going on around them. If I had to jump off this vehicle now, those two lionesses would be up in a flash. I can guarantee you. Now, that just shows you that they're not completely sleeping, not like we sleep. They do still know what's going on around them. What I may do is I may try to get out of here and just see if we can't see those two males again, get another view of them, but they were in that drainage line, so it might be a bit difficult to see them. I think I've got an idea of where they went because they followed these lionesses. So we shall see. Now, Jackie, lions can mate any time during the year. There's not a specific mating season. So it all depends on whether or not the females are in estrus. And if the males are around and they're willing to mate. So females can definitely mate any time of the year. Or lions, at least. Lions will mate any time of the year. There isn't a specific mating season for lions. Now, it's been wonderful to sit with these lions and follow them, but it's been so exciting because we weren't sure, were they going to potentially hunt the giraffe? I think the giraffe saw them or smelt them, and they moved off, and then the lions carried on moving. We thought they were going to try hunt impala. Monkey's alarm called, alerted the impala moved off. They could tell there was something in the area that's potentially dangerous just by those monkey alarm calls. So it just shows you there's it's very exciting, and you know that at the end of the day, patience is very important and key. We've been sitting with them all afternoon, but if you want to see lions hunting, if you want to see that activity, you've got to be patient. You've got to sit with them and you've got to spend time with them. Machine gun nest, you say these lions look like they've had too much safari life. Yes, they've been the center of attention for quite some time. I think what I'm going to do is let me move out of this drainage line. I'm going to go have a quick look and see where those males are, just so we have an idea. And then we can decide if we move on or if we try to find something else. The thing is, though, Murphy's Law, we decide to do that. Next thing is lions get up and something walks into them, or they bump into something and they hunt. I've watched lions resting like this before in the afternoon and heard of impala, came running through, didn't see the lions, ran straight into them, and the lions ended up killing 2 impala. So who knows? But let me get out of here so long for now, I think. And we'll see if we can find the 2 big males. But let's head back across to my friend Scott, who's still got his lions too.
So the lioness has ever so slightly repositioned her wildebeest snack. The cubs are still not showing too much interest in feeding. I guess they could be waiting for the easier cuts. Oh, well, there's one that's just started. The easier cuts of meat to be presented to them by their mother's ability to open the carcass far better than they can. And
Mr. Brent Leo Smith has kindly provided me with some information regarding his thoughts on who these lions could be. He has actually seen them before, and he thinks it is a pride of lions called the sausage pride, or sausage, depending on how you'd like to pronounce that word. I like to say sausage. And he says that there could be distant relatives or kind of a pride breakaway further south from here, but he definitely recognized the description of the slightly pale, smaller cub, as well as what should be 3 lioness. So we've only seen 2 confirmed, but there was a report that there was a 3rd here. For those of you who may have just joined, this lioness and her counterparts apparently managed to take down 4 wildebeest. The one she's feeding on now is a youngster, so not very big, but apparently there's another 3 stashed somewhere. I'm guessing that's where the other 2 lioness could be, feeding in peace. This one's been left to babysit while she snacks, and there's 4 cubs of 2 different ages playing around in the long grass surrounding her. Now, I've just got a question through, wondering if these little cubs were fathered by Scarface, and I'm actually not too sure. Good to have you with us, Sinatra. Judging by the area that they're in, I don't think Scarface would be their father. He tends to hang out further south from here, from what we've seen, and closer to the Mara River, as well as on the eastern side of the Mara River. You never know, though, and like we said, we're still working out who these lions are, where exactly their territories are, and how far they move. There is a chance that these lions could move far enough to fit into his territory, but I'm guessing it's another coalition of males that would have fathered these cubs. This is a long, long way from where we've seen Scar. So it's unlikely, Sinatra. It would be wonderful if there were some more baby Scars popping up into this area, as he has got incredible genes. He's a magnificent male lion. But what I can assure you is that he's doing a good job spreading his seed in the area where he is dominant, which is kind of in the central parts of the reserve as a general rule, whereas here we're a little bit further north and east, not very close to the river. Why does it look like this lioness is trying to do a chokehold? Is she trying to teach her cubs, or am I just confused as to which part of the body of the wildebeest she's chewing on? Well, interesting that one of the cubs has started getting stuck in, but the others haven't. Obviously, they're not concerned, and they know there's plenty of food around. And one of the interesting things about this sighting that we're enjoying now is that it defies normal lion behavior. I mean, I know you guys were discussing with Byron earlier, are lions more active at night? And yes, as a general rule, there's no 2 ways about it. They certainly are. But it can depend, and there's no set rules. These lioness provided us with a very good example of that today. In broad daylight, probably an hour or so before we got here, I'm guessing from the reports that we had, they were up and about hunting wildebeest to the point where they managed to succeed in bringing 4 down. Of course, this would have been aided, or their behavior would have been assisted by the fact that they could have been sleeping and a herd of wildebeest could have just run into them, and that would have triggered their opportunistic hunting prowess, where it would be unwise to wait until it's dark to try and hunt something when you can very easily do it during the day as well. Seems like they're making some headway on dinner. And I'm glad we all got to see my theory get proved completely wrong by the interesting behavior that we witnessed. I mean,
who knows when exactly the lions killed these wildebeest, but from the time we arrived on the scene, it was at least 45 minutes before they started feeding on them. And in all of my years, that is something that I've never seen. Usually, as soon as lions make a kill, there's lots of growling and arguing amongst pride members as to who gets the best bites, and it's not something that they wait for. Often before the animal's even dead, they're starting to feed on it as and where they can. So this behavior was really interesting, and I'm very happy we all got to see me get proved wrong. And another good example of the fact that you just never know what is going to happen out here. Although the more time we spend out here, we are going to get much better insight into the individuals as well as their species and what they like to get up to. Not the best view, guys, so I apologize for that, but we're on the edge of what is called a lugga, or a riverbed, and I would not like to go toppling over the edge. I don't think Ferg would be very impressed.
You're on your own then.
Nor the boss. And I'm trying to nurture my vehicle as much as possible. My vehicle's called Paka. She is an absolute legend. And on all these bumpy roads we have to travel, on this massive playground we have, I don't want to take any chances on this mobile office of ours. Interesting question through from Travi. With the surplus of kills that they've made today, how long will the carcass last before it becomes too rancid and maggot-ridden to prevent the lions consuming it? I would say in the cool Mara climate, 3 days, quite easily. I've seen lions feeding on the most atrocious, old, rotting carcasses, but that's in more desperate scenarios, and I'm fairly confident these lions know that they have reached a time of year that they probably long for the 7-8 months that the migration is not here, because there is a bounty of food, and as they sit and feed here, there are thousands of wildebeests within only a few hundred meters of them. I would love to show them to you, but there's a big rain cover that we've got up protecting the rain which is coming from behind us. But there's just so many options that they wouldn't be forced to desperate measures. So again, it all depends on the circumstances and even the individual. Us as humans can often be related to wild animals. We are the same species, yet we behave very differently in different parts of the world. We eat differently in different parts of the world. And the same goes for lions, and all wild animals really. They each have their own little intricacies, personalities, and behaviors depending on the area that you may find them in. Hello to Jeffrey, who's watching all the way in Texas. Hope things are good out in Texas. Never been there. Maybe one day I'll pop in and visit. And you'd like to know why they stash their kills. I think I probably incorrectly used the word stashed. I think they would have simply killed them and left them where they found them. The grass is so long here, they wouldn't have felt the risk of vultures seeing them or other animals, and that's the kind of the main reason why lions will stash kills, to hide them from the beady eyes of vultures, who can then alert other scavengers like hyena to a kill. I think it was merely the fact that the grass was very long that it appeared stashed, and I think they were just leaving them wherever they dispatched them until they found their cubs. So apologies for probably incorrectly using the term stashed there. Okay, what is the time? We've got a little bit of a trip to get back to camp, and we still need to batten down the rain flaps before we do so. So I'm going to be saying temporarily goodbye, and certainly the lions will be saying goodbye, but hopefully we'll be able to show you one or two things on our way back to camp. If not, it's been wonderful to have you on board, and we're going to be sending you back down south to Byron.
Thanks very much, Scott, and what a lovely sighting with those lion cubs and that pride up in the Mara. Now, I've found the rest of the pride, and it appears as if, well, there's just one youngster with his head up, lying off to my left, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, the other 5 youngsters over here, and 2 lionesses. We'll show you them shortly. They are just lying in front of me. See, the rest of the pride did settle down, just on the other side of the previous drainage that we were in. You can probably hear the knocking of a bearded woodpecker knocking on a dead stump. And then one of the males, there he is, just lying off to the left. There we go. So we found one of the males. The other one is just up to the back, off to the left there, behind those bushes. He's lying over there somewhere. We saw him on our way down looking for these. So, just as I thought, lions resting, they'll wait until, probably until a bit later, and then decide to move around and possibly try and hunt. Now the decision is, do we stick around with them, or do we leave them and potentially try find them a little bit later? I don't know. It's always a tough call. And I think for the moment, you know what, it's starting to cool down. Maybe these lions decide to get up and move in the next 10-15 minutes. Maybe only in an hour. You know, they got up and they were moving around this afternoon, so they might decide to hold on for a little bit longer. Or rest for a little bit longer, rather. Lovely view of this little one. You can see already some scars around the face. They clearly get very aggressive with each other when they are feeding, when they are at a kill. But it's been a very exciting afternoon. I was really excited when we started the drive and we saw them moving around. Plus, you asked if any of the Birmingham males, any of their offspring have reached adult or sub-adult stage. Well, I suppose these youngsters here are sub-adults. Just trying to think now how old they are. Oh, everyone, I do apologize. I get confused sometimes with the different lion prides I find. I can't remember now when these young Nkuhuma cubs were born. They're probably about a year old now. No, they must be older than that. I'm trying to think. If any of you just give me, any of you who can remember exactly how old they are, please let me know, because I can't remember. For the life of me, I can't remember exactly how old they are. I'm trying to think of lions in the other prides. I don't know, Liz. I'm not sure actually if any of the lions from the Birmingham males, any of their offspring have reached adulthood. It would probably be best to ask James or Scott. They've been around this area a lot longer than I have, and they've been viewing these lions a lot longer, so I don't know if they know of any instances that these Birmingham males have had offspring reach that age, adulthood. Hank, thank you very much. You said the cubs are about a year old. I thought so. Sure, thank goodness. So they are about a year old, so they're still young. I suppose once they reach a year and a half to 2 years old, they're considered sub-adults. So a little bit longer to go, but to be honest, I think they had a good age now. They seem to be doing very well. So the chances of them reaching adulthood or sub-adulthood, pretty good. A lot of birds giving their evening or late afternoon chorus. The woodpeckers are knocking, the francolins are calling. I could hear a barred owlet calling. Now last night we were very lucky, we found 2 of them. I wonder if we find an owl this evening. I will try my best to see if we can find a little owl. Oh no, I wonder what this youngster found. Unless it's looking for the other females. Now they're probably about, from here I would say they're about 200 meters away, 150 to 200 meters away, in that direction that young cub was looking. They're in that direction. So oh, look at that, that's actually a lovely view of that lion. Isn't that beautiful? So those 2 lionesses were resting in the drainage line. They went to have a look if there was anything to hunt, but unfortunately no luck. Which is the way it goes sometimes. Riti, now you asked at what age would lions move out independently. So Riti, it depends. Usually with females, they tend to stay within the pride, so that just increases the size of the pride. With the young males, I would say at about 3 to 4 years old, they may possibly be pushed out. It depends though, Riti. About 4 or 5 years old, these males start looking to look for territory or to explore a little bit more and potentially set up a territory of their own. It also depends if they're males that come in that chase those males out, that threaten them. Those males will then run away. And I have seen in the past, I've seen young males join other prides. They hang around, and eventually the pride accepts them, and because they realize they're no threat. And I have seen males from one pride join another pride, obviously when there was no male around. If it's a coalition, obviously the males at about 5-6 years old, they start trying to set up territories for themselves and potentially challenge other coalitions or other males for dominance, for territory. But I would say lions are actually in their prime, and I'm referring to males from about 6 or 7 years old up to about 9 or 10. That's really when they're in their prime, and they probably won't be challenged for their territory. Now, it sounds like Batman has soldiered through and he's climbed on the vehicle, he's behind the camera, and he's with Taylor, and they would like to say good afternoon to you.
Hello everybody, better late than never I suppose. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today, as Byron was just telling you, is Craig, and we also have a special guest holding on for dear life, especially while I'm driving, and it's Tara, and we're totally going to say, are you ready to say hello to Tara? What do you think, hey Craig? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for the full view, was I? Windswept from the airport.
Straight off the plane and straight into the sands. I'm sure she's very happy to be back in the African wilderness. But I have a beautiful view to show you, and I think you're all going to be very impressed by the scene that we have this afternoon. It is just absolutely gorgeous. And I suppose we're not late because we still made it in time for the sunset. What do you think about that? Drakensberg Mountains in the background, beautiful clouds, and the sun just popping below them now. Maybe we'll find our Franklin too. I just heard one calling, seen as though they've been avoiding me for the last few days. Now, you know I always say this, that is screenshot worthy. Of course, it'd make a great wallpaper, but that's one of the prettiest sunsets I think I've seen here in the last year, quite easily. Very, very, very pretty. And there's even a couple of starlings just in the shrub, Craig, just in front of us. It might be quite a nice little silhouette. I know they're a bit too low. It's a pity that tree's not higher. But the Birchall starlings are out. They're having a last-minute sort of sing of their song before they head for cover and, well, rest throughout the night until we see them again tomorrow morning. Look at that glow, that red glow. Wonderful. Now, remember, this is live, this is interactive, this is happening right now. You've seen so much action already with James, with Scott, with Byron, and hopefully we'll be able to find a spotted cat, because that is going to be my mission this afternoon, as we're going to check around in some of Mvula's favorite places, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get to see him. Or you never know, Tingana, the last-minute leopard, that could be on the cards. But unfortunately, we're not going to be extending the show like we said we were going to be doing, just because Craig has gone for a root canal, and he's a chubby bunny at the moment, swollen cheeks, not feeling 100%, not his normal chatty self. You know, Craig, we've always got to tell him to keep quiet while we're on air. He makes such a racket, that one. So we're just going to let him have a bit of a rest, and he will be back tomorrow and ready for another adventure. Byron, however, is still sitting within Nkuhuma Pride. It was quite exciting. I saw them earlier showing some interest in the giraffe. Perhaps they'd try a second attempt at those giraffe. But let's go back across to him and see what they're up to.
Now, these lions are very comfortable and relaxed. I don't think they are going to move anytime soon, and as I say that, one lioness has just picked up her head just in front of me. Have a look here. Let's see. Like I say, it's very, very difficult. There we go. So I wonder, excuse me, let me just call one of the other guides in. Mike, do you copy, Mike? Mike, I'm not sure if you saw the two lionesses in that drainage line, just to the, or north up that drainage line. Yeah, affirmative. Okay, copy. And then the rest of the pride is, you know, there's that little mud wallow just as you come through the dip to the south or southwest. There's a little mud wallow southwest of Central or west of Central, and the rest of the pride is just down towards the drainage line. So it sounds like those other two lionesses are still lying in that drainage line. They haven't moved. Or have a look, there's a little bit of a yawn. Now, that's often a good sign. Lions lifting their heads, yawning, stretching. That's a sign that they potentially will get active. So we'll see. Maybe this lioness decides to get up, move, and possibly meet up with the other lionesses. Let's sit around for a few more minutes. Woodpecker is knocking. It reminds me of some of the trackers I used to work with. If you potentially had a late night with guests and you sat around a fire and obviously enjoyed a few beverages, and which is part of the safari, I think, and everybody has a bit of fun, and the next morning if you're feeling a little under the weather, the trackers would often say, you've got woodpeckers in your head, don't you? I think it's quite an accurate statement. Woodpeckers in your head. And if you hear the knocking sound of these woodpeckers at the moment. You can hear the bearded woodpeckers are calling at the moment. That territorial knocking sound, that's what it is. Have a look at that male quickly. He is lying flat on his back, legs up in the air, and he seems very comfortable. Head upside down. Look at that. Is it Tink? Sorry, I couldn't hear that name properly. So, you said you... Oh, Tink, you say you wish you were so relaxed. Yes. Well, these lions are clearly not fazed by anything. I'm just listening to Mike quickly. Copy. Thanks, Mike. I'm going to sit here with the rest of the pride for now. It sounds like a one lioness got up. And that could... you see, I thought she just changed position. It wasn't necessarily moving, she just changed position, lay down again. But this cleaning is a good sign. That's a sign of him starting to get active, possibly wake up. Francis from Israel. Francis, these lions, at the moment, they don't have mange. They had mange. If you remember correctly, they did suffer from a little bit of mange, and those might just be scars on these young lions. You could see some of the fur missing and that, but I think they've recovered from it completely. I don't think they have it anymore. And this was during the drought last year. Remember I think it was the Styx Pride. They lost cubs to mange. We had a few cubs with mange, and they had white muscle disease last year, and it's because of malnutrition. It was a very bad drought, no water, and the food that they were feeding on, the animals they were feeding on, were unhealthy, and that affected the lions negatively. So all those factors caused the lions to suffer a little bit too, but they pulled through. They've done very, very well, and they recovered. Meriedel, the lions that we have here and the lions we have in the Mara are indeed Panthera leo, the only lions, the African lions. So they are indeed the same species. They're not... suppose they're distant cousins, because these ones are in South Africa and those ones are in the Mara. So very distant. No, but they are the same species. Beautiful paws of that lioness. See how she's cleaning herself. Now remember, that tongue is incredibly rough and has little hairs or barbs on the tongue, and the ability to clean themselves with that tongue is incredible. And it's a very, very rough tongue. Look at that claw. See that dew claw? Did you see it? You caught a glimpse of the dew claw there. It's that very large, sharp claw. basically the thumb claw. I suppose that's the best way I could describe it. The dew claw, and the lioness, I think what she did, she just basically contracted her muscle, caused that claw to come out while she was cleaning it. But you saw how sharp that is. Now they'll use that to grab onto prey when they are hunting. Incredibly sharp claw. Still cleaning, the other one's rolling around. I wonder if they are going to decide to stand up for us. I'm terribly sorry, Alice. There was a game drive question. Just hold on a second for me, Alice. Mike, if you copy, make your way straight in. You'll see the vehicle tracks heading off kind of west down to the drainage line. You should see me down. I'm not quite in the drainage line yet, just on the edge. Sorry, Alice, go ahead with your question. Henry, it doesn't sound like it for the moment. If you'd like to make your way in, if anyone else is interested, I will make space. Copy. When you came onto Central in the beginning and you first saw me, I'm basically in that same position, just down closer to the drainage line. The rest of the pride are lying down here with the two males. Sparo, you asked if the lions get fleas. Now, they can get fleas from time to time, but they do groom themselves and clean themselves regularly, so they try and get rid of the fleas. But yes, like most of the animals out here, they will indeed pick up some fleas from time to time. Obviously helps when it rains, gets rid of all those little fleas and ticks sometimes that sit on them. But the lions do constantly clean themselves, getting rid of the ticks and fleas that sit on them. And then tomorrow morning, it will be an all-girl drive from Djuma. So we've got Tara, who's returned. She used to present on Safari Live a while ago. So she's back and she's going to be helping out for the next week or so, and or maybe a bit longer, I'm not sure. So Tara and Taylor, I don't want to say the terrible T's, so I won't. But Tara and Taylor will be out tomorrow morning. They said I could have the morning off for some reason. Maybe it was because I made Taylor breakfast this morning. James and Faisal, you were actually wondering how the bush breakfast turned out. Well, no one has died yet, so it went fairly well, I think. Senzo, what do you think?
Nah, very good.
Very good. Oh, thank you, Senzo. Senzo enjoyed it. So
It was nice.
Senzo filmed all of it, and we're going to have a Safari Live story up soon for all of you to enjoy, hopefully, and obviously comment on it. But it sounds like everybody enjoyed it, unless they were just being very nice. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we went to it until we get leave so we can talk about it.
Senzo says he's waiting until I go away on leave, and then he'll be honest. You see, we were speaking about the grooming, and you can see the lions cleaning themselves there. That lioness and that cub was actually cleaning the other lion, or the other cub. Exquisite Bliss, you were saying perhaps I got the morning off so I can cook everyone breakfast again. Perhaps even Amanda joined us. She kept a watchful eye on me, make sure I was doing things properly. But even Amanda said she enjoyed it. And I think also to give her the morning off, she didn't have to cook breakfast for us. So she was a little spoilt too. Look at that lioness smelling the air. See how she lifted her nose up? Not sure what she smells. Let's see. I wonder if they are going to get up soon. She definitely smells something in the air. There we go. A stretch. Let's see if she yawns again. I wonder if she'll yawn again for us. Or a stretch. Let's see. She may just change positions, lie down somewhere again, or she could potentially go and walk and look for those other lionesses. I wouldn't be surprised if the other lioness gets up and decides to join her. Beautiful view. Look at that. Look at those eyes. Just as I thought, the other lioness just got up. There we go. Also a yawn and a stretch. Look at that again. Our patience paid off. They've decided to get up and move. Now let's see. They might just head straight towards those other lionesses. I wonder if these youngsters are going to follow them. See, they're all starting to wake up. Some yawns. Look at that. Heidi, you were saying, do you think this female smelt buffalo? No, Heidi, I don't think so, because we haven't seen buffalo for a few days, and I'm sure we would have probably heard some oxpeckers if there were buffalo nearby, or I'm sure we would have seen them, somebody would have seen them. You see, just as I was saying, sometimes these lionesses get up, move around, change position, lie down again, and that's exactly what they've done. I think what we are going to do is we're probably going to leave the pride now. I don't think they're going to move too far. Possibly just going to change position, lie down there for a few more minutes, and possibly join up with those other lionesses a little bit later. But we've had such a nice afternoon with them. We've had a wonderful, exciting afternoon with them. They almost hunted. They were really, really curious. They were looking around. Just didn't play out the way they wanted it to. But such a lovely sight here, and to see all of them together, the males following, the cubs following, and the lionesses doing the leading. Now we're going to leave them, I think, because they're just going. They're lying up not too far from us. They're lying down again. So let's move on. Let's go across to Taylor and find out what her plan is for the last little while of drive, and we'll see if we can find some owls.
Hopefully we'll find some owls, yes. Now, I'm so sad. I think the Nguhumas must have got up a little bit too early, and in terms of trying to hunt, because now that they're sitting down, I'm a bit disappointed. I really am. Those silly lions. I thought that they were going to get up and put on a real show. I talked them up so much this morning, and there they have gone, letting me down. But we're on the new road now, the one that runs past the Gari repeater. We're just having a quick look here. As you know, this road can sometimes bring many amazing sightings. So we'll see what we can find around here. We've got obviously Craig, the owl spotter, so who knows, maybe we get to see a pearl-spotted owlet or perhaps a barred owlet. The barred owlets really seem to be out in full force at the moment. And a scops. But I think if we're wanting to find a scops owl, we might have to go and check around camp, as there is a pair that are living in the DRC at the moment. I don't know. Tara, what animal would you like to see in terms of nocturnal critters would you like to see first time back in South Africa?
I'm sure the viewers can answer that one.
Okay, should we do it? Should we put it to the test? All you long-standing Safari Live viewers that have been watching for many years now, hashtag Safari Live with what nocturnal critter you think Tara would like to see as a welcome back gift to South Africa. And we'll see what pops up and who can guess first. So that'll be interesting. I don't know, it's not quite dark enough just yet for a spotlight. I don't know, Craig, what do you want to see? You want to see honey badgers, I bet. Should we check our honey badger spot? Maybe we'll check Philemon's cutline and Shibamo. Aardvark? That'd be nice. Porcupine, yeah, all of those animals would be absolutely fantastic. Though I think Mvula ate the last porcupine in the northern Sabi Sands though the other night. So I don't know about our chances of finding a porcupine. I might be able to find you a porcupine quill. I would like to see, and I saw there was a post that somebody put on Facebook, I can't remember who put it up, about a brown hyena sighting.
I was going to ask you about
that. Okay.
Where it was.
Where was it?
The little quarry just off the
Gary Main. Okay, that's exciting. So we'll
I actually did go down there quite a lot. For some reason I can smell the pacing really well.
Okay.
Anything else? Yeah, the pacing goes really well for me.
Well, let's go down that way then and have a look if that's the case. I mean, when we go past there often, that used to be Shongile and Hosana's favourite spot. We've seen them there in that quarry a couple of times. Karula used to leave them around there, or they'd go wandering into the quarry. I'm sure it was quite nice to climb up on some of those big mounds. Maybe it's dark enough for a spotlight. Let's see. And also because it's been so warm today, I know the clouds came over. Maybe we're going to see a chameleon. And Craig was just telling me now that when he and Connor were in town, they saw a chameleon crossing one of the main roads. So they actually got out and they helped the chameleon across the road, as otherwise it was going to end underneath a tire, and we do not want that. We don't want to see any squashed chameleons, and not everybody is as vigilant as us as guides. So I didn't, but Craig and Connor gave it a helping hand. Okay, so Tara, all the viewers are saying that you are a leopard lady. Woohoo! There we go. You've all got memories like elephants. None of you forget, which is fantastic. Well, that's very good. Maybe one day, would you still remember that I love elephants so much in 10 years' time? Maybe. Maybe because I've talked the hind leg of a donkey about them. You probably will. I'd actually like to see a chameleon, but if we're going to see a leopard, this is a good spot. Then we'll go all the way up along Gari Main. We'll go and check the quarry out and see if we can find a brown hyena. Wouldn't that be amazing? Most of you know I'm very lucky. I've seen many brown hyenas in my guiding days just because there were so many of them down in the Eastern Cape. But I've never seen a brown hyena, but never say never. Remember, I saw a caracal not so long ago on cheetah plains. Yeah, that was amazing. I'll quickly update Tara about that sighting. I was with VM and we're driving and we stopped and I looked in the road and I thought it was a steenbok crossing the road, and I went, and then I obviously got into a panic and I went, VM, caracal, because I could not believe my eyes, as I've been in the sands since 2015 and never seen one up here. So that was amazing. We got a very quick glimpse of it and we haven't seen it again since. So you never know, I suppose. Hey, right? I was very excited by that because I was told there were people that have been working in the sands for 20 years and said there are no caracal up here. Well, we proved them wrong, didn't we? You know what? Let's go. I'm going to put serval vibes out there tonight. I'd like to quite enjoy watching a serval.
I've seen one once on the original.
Oh, okay.
I was so excited. It was just before we went live. I was so excited. Come on, let's go live.
Quick link.
I literally had went live, it started disappearing.
But that is so typical of the special sightings. They disappear so quickly, these shire critters. Okay, so no luck on the new road. Shadow, how disappointing. We've got a very special guest and now you don't appear. Talk about our animals not being accommodating. Isn't that quite selfish of them? I mean, you've flown all the way from the UK to come out here. We better get a last minute leopard tonight. Let's see, who knows, maybe something's crossing this way. Now, pause, you're wondering if the animals... No, hang on, wait, did I hear that correctly? Can you have that question again? So I don't know if I... Oh, there we go. Do animals outnumber humans in South Africa? Well, actually, I don't know about that because we've got a couple of million people living in South Africa. It'd be a close one, though. I'm even just trying to think of our most common antelope in Africa, which is, of course, the impala. I don't even think their populations could come close. What do you think, Tara? Do you think the animals outnumber? If you included the insects and the birds, then yes. But if you talk about just mammals, it's a tough one. You know, it's so difficult, even when they do these census, these counts of these animals, to go out and get a correct figure. You know, they go out in the sky, obviously in helicopters and airplanes, they go out on foot and they also drive around and they try and count them. But it's not a very accurate way, unfortunately. So I'm sure there are so many mammals that they miss, that they don't see. I mean, how do you count the rodent population, for example? The moles, they live underground. All these types of things. So, Paul, is a very good question, but I think it's a particularly difficult one to try and answer with the fact that we don't know the entire population or how many animals there actually are out here just in South Africa. There's so many. But we do have a lot of wilderness areas, though. It could be close, maybe, but I don't know. Okay, now it's a hard one. Now we're driving on Gowrie Main and Wendy's doing her thing where she just drives off the road sometimes. That's nice. You're gonna love the car. So I know it is. At least you'll be in Rusty's not too bad. Wendy, though, however, has turned into the tank, as most of you know. And then, like I said, has a mind of her own, and she just goes, no, I think I'm just going to go off-road over here now. Okay, hold on tight. Poor Craig's had a couple of thorns to the face a few times. Okay, so Gowrie Main. A couple of corrugations, but we're going to get to Shibamu Road now, and that's a particularly popular crossing point for the leopards. We'll quickly check the quarry, and then perhaps we'll go past Twin Dams, and if we have enough time, we'll also try and visit Treehouse Dam and see if anybody has gone down for a late afternoon drink. Maybe our friend the hippopotamus, and I remember seeing hippo tracks heading towards Treehouse Dam. I don't know if there was a hippo in there. It could have been Scuba Steve, who is a little bit on the shy side and likes to hide, well, under the water for longer than 6 minutes. And we'll have to see. But I do see lots of lights coming our way. Now, they look like game viewers, so I wonder what's happening around here. Perhaps the leopards are at Baboon Pan. That could quite well be the case. Now, Craig, you're on my team this afternoon, obviously. When are we going to see an owl? Because I believe you spot them all the time with Byron. Do we have to hear them first? Like Byron says he puts Craig in the right spot because he hears the owls and then Craig spots them for him. So it's nice teamwork. So perhaps I'm being a bit selfish and I'm not listening carefully enough. Otherwise, we're just going to cheat and we'll go back to camp. And I'll drive the car into camp, around the dining room table, so that we can have a look for some owls. Okay, here's the quarry. The quarry's coming up now. Still no leopard tracks. I wonder where the spotted cats have all disappeared to. Okay. Come on, brown hyena. Can you imagine? Might faint. I might faint if that happens. We're just going to pop our noses very quickly into the quarry. We can also go and check if Janet Jackson is still in her hole. See if she's around there. I can imagine this would be a very good spot to find a brown hyena. But sadly, No German shepherds of the bush in here. Right, we're going to carry on searching and hopefully we'll find some owls, a chameleon, maybe a spotted cat, which I'm sure will make Tara's day. But let's go back across to Byron. He hasn't found an owl yet, but I'm sure it won't be too long.
Oh dear, Taylor, I don't know if you've just jinxed me. I'll try my best. We'll see, we'll have a look. I heard a pearl-spotted owl calling, but it was a little far and I don't see anything. Now I'm checking this tree again, and I'm checking this tree on purpose because the other day we had a scops owl around here. I'm not sure if it's still in this area, but it hid from us. And as we heard it, and then it disappeared, unfortunately. We actually caught a glimpse of it, but then it flew up into the tree, into the canopy, and we lost it. But we'll see. Let's see if we can find a little owl this evening, quickly. Been a wonderful afternoon. You can feel the temperature starting to drop. Spanks, you asked if the bush babies only come out at night. They are generally nocturnal. Are those just some leaves at the top there? Yeah. They are generally nocturnal. They mainly come out at night. I have seen bush babies out during the day, but it's not often. It's quite unlikely. They are mainly nocturnal. They come out at night and they move around looking for, sometimes they feed on insects or fruit, or mainly the sap of trees, of the acacia trees. They enjoy feeding on that. Come on, let's try. Surely there is a little owl out for us. Checking very, very carefully. Try and look for the little silhouette actually of an owl. It's actually quite easy to spot the silhouette now because the trees are all quite bare and open. Eric, there are actually quite a few bats around at the moment. Well, I wouldn't say that many, but there are still bats around. And every now and then we get a glimpse of the bats flying past us. They're very quick and it's not easy to spot the little bats. But they are around indeed. Now what I'm doing is I'm just scanning these trees quickly. Just to see if there is an owl. I can hear owls calling. I can hear Scops owl calling, but it appears as if they're right on the other side of the drainage line. Trying to hear if I can't hear any other owls calling. Now, it seems like those Scops owls, there are two of them calling in the distance, but behind us, down in the drainage line. That's a pity. Misha, I believe that some of the owls are territorial. Pearl-spotted owls, Scops owls, they can be territorial, tend to use the same holes for a while, and they do have little territorial disputes. That's often why you get a lot of the owls calling during the day. The pearl-spotted owls, the barred owls, even the Scops owls occasionally, they will call during the day because they are a little territorial. The bat. Well spotted, Senzo. There's a bat flying around. I don't know if we'll be able to show you just off to the distance. They're so quick. Beautiful sound of the fiery-necked nightjar. I always say these bird names are occasionally tongue twisters. The fiery-necked nightjar. Wonderful sound. It's my impersonation of a fiery-necked nightjar. Don't know if it's very good. We've only got a few minutes left. I'm going to try our best. Tim, the chameleons, actually, I don't know where do the chameleons go. I'm actually not sure, Tim. I don't know what happens to chameleons in winter, where they hibernate or estivate. It's a form of hibernation. They do hide and conserve their energy in the winter months. And I don't know if the chameleons actually bury themselves underground. I don't think so. I'm not sure, Tim. I'll try and double check. I'll try and find out what happens to chameleons in the winter, and I'll let you know tomorrow. I'm going to have a look because I am curious. We're not going to be extending the drive this evening. Just because Craig just got back from the dentist today, so he's not feeling 100% just yet. I'm sure you all understand, but we are still out for a few more minutes. Maybe Taylor has an answer to that question. Tim, maybe she knows what happens to the chameleons in winter. Let's go find out.
To their cupboards. My dad says that to me all the time. I think I've told this story before. And I used to go to the beach and I couldn't see the fish, and I would throw a tantrum. Sometimes still now, I think it's safe because it's safe fish, you see. Oh,
oh dear, well, it sounds like Taylor's got some gremlins. She didn't manage to find an owl, but she found some gremlins. That's not good. Well, what an afternoon. Very exciting. We got to see lions, spend time with them, got to see them hunting. I'm just listening. I can hear the owls. They're around, but in the distance. It's amazing how far those calls can be heard. Now, what a great afternoon, as I said. And it was nice that we had good old James and Scott up in the Mara, and they had some exciting sightings. The lion cubs with the pride. James had some crocodiles and hippo, and we followed the Nkuhuma pride. So a lot going on this afternoon. Very exciting. Don't forget, all-girl drive tomorrow from Juma, Tara and Taylor. Thank you very much to Final Control, Alice and Chantal. And of course James and Scott in the Mara. Hope they have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much to all of you, as always, for all the questions and the comments. It's always great hearing from you. I am now going to go look for Amanda and see what she's prepared for dinner. But we've all had a wonderful day and an afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow on Safari Live. Don't forget 6 a.m. Central African time. Goodbye everyone, and good night.